This is Capital Games. I am the Wiz. I'm going to do something a little different for Capital Games today. There's really not much in the way of news that can't be covered in a quick thing in the weekly dividend, but I want to discuss something a little different. Those of you who may not be into movies and film may not realize that there is a big movie coming out that actually pollinates really well with Capital Games as a whole, and that is the Super Mario Brothers movie, the Illumination-produced movie that Nintendo is helping to produce and is being created by the people who made Minions and Despicable Me. And that is, technically it's released now. It is released for previews starting Wednesday. The official release date's Friday. And it's looking like it's going to be a very sizable hit. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and a bunch of other things regarding the brand itself of Mario when it pertains to the movie coming out. So if you didn't know, we also do the Capital Games Movie Club where me, Zero, and a friend of mine named Kim, we review movies. So if you want to listen to that and are interested in our opinions on that, please go right over there and subscribe on the YouTube channel if you're here on YouTube. But of course, if you're on the podcast feed, we're on the podcast as well. So we do a bunch of reviews on that time as well. So let's just get into the Super Mario Brothers movie. When we look at the Mario Brothers movie, people have been looking forward to it, and there's been a little bit of controversy, and I mean very little controversy with this. And that was the fact that the cast that they announced that Mario is being played by Chris Pratt. And I'm going to be upfront and honest, I don't care. I don't care. Like, I even heard the voice that Chris Pratt did for Mario, and it's like, whatever, it's fine. Like the people who complain about, oh, it's terrible, it's not really Mario. It's like, what do you want them to do? You want them to have a fake Italian accent the entire damn time? So it's been a pretty smooth sailing for Nintendo and for Illumination when it comes to this movie. Nintendo has been showing this movie off bits and pieces in their directs. The Nintendo fan base is aware that it's coming, and a lot of them are looking forward to it too. Adults and kids as well with this. What does this lead to when it comes to the Super Mario Brothers movie? Well, right now, if we're going to look at the reviews that are out now for the Super Mario Brothers movie, it's pretty mixed. If we're looking at Rotten Tomatoes, it's at a 54% as of right now. Half of the critics like it, half the critics don't. They do mention in this with this as well, a lot of them say this is clearly going to be something that is a start of a franchise. So if this is successful, we're gonna bound to see more, just like what they did with Sonic the Hedgehog and other movies like that, where they build it up so maybe if there's a sequel coming, you'll know it's coming at some point. So if this turns out to be a big success, it looks like that they're gearing up for it to be a franchise for Illumination, and I think it's DreamWorks who produces this as well. So that will be interesting to see on that end as well. But the reviews have been mixed, about 56% recommend it, essentially, which, bear in mind, for a kid's movie, this is essentially a family movie. It's not bad numbers. It's not terrible. It's not great, but, it's a good time, whatever. No big deal, okay? None of them are saying it's outright awful, is the thing that I want to point out in this one. The reviews are kind, I guess I should say it. So 58% is not bad. Like, in the mid-50s is not bad. It's actually, for the type of movie it is, it really is not bad. You're not going to get the Shrek numbers or the numbers they get from a Studio Ghibli film. It's just not going to happen. But with the numbers that they're showing right now when it comes to reviews, it is fine. And to be fair, this is the type of movie that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to the critics for. So, unless the reviews are absolutely abysmal, like if they're really bad, then that would be the case. But in this circumstance, no, they're not even paying attention to this. Now, why would that matter in a certain circumstance? This is the first time Nintendo has done a movie in the theaters since the early 90s. and that was the Mario Brothers movie, the Super Mario movie, which starred Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, which has now become, I think after all this time, it's kind of become a cult movie to a certain extent. I hate it. I think it's a terrible movie. Even barring mind, take away the fact that they butcher the source material. Forget that. As a movie in itself, it is awful. I've never liked that movie, and I do not get why people even ironically like it. And that was a disaster for not only the company that made it, but for also Nintendo, because it ended up hurting the brand a little bit. But they ended up still making games from the Mario brand. They never even bothered with making movies. They did cartoons to a certain point. I remember the Super Mario Bros. 3 cartoon, the Super Mario World cartoon, and they were fine, but they're not beloved. They're not like something that, as adults, I think adults actually try and seek out, unless you're super nostalgic for it. Like that's like I would look at more like Animaniacs or the Batman the Animated Series as something that's more people are more nostalgic for because of the quality of that show. But yeah, like when it comes to multimedia stuff, Nintendo really hasn't been going too hard on it. I mean, you could count Pokemon, but that's really the Pokemon Company doing that as well. Nintendo kind of stays out of it and just collects checks. When it comes to like their properties like Mario, Zelda, Metroid, and all that, yeah, they've never. This is the first time they're doing this in a long time, and apparently it's taken a lot of convincing to do this. So with that in mind, if this movie turns out to be bad and people don't like it, will this hurt the brand of Mario? I'm gonna say comfortably no. It's not gonna make a difference in this. I think this is more upside than anything with this movie, because even if it just turns like even if they say it's okay and kids really like it, you now have a young fan base for the next 10 years that will want to see anything and play anything Mario, which means more sales to Nintendo and their systems to play Mario games. A big plus. But let's say everyone hates it. No one likes it. Like the reviews, they get it all wrong, and most of the people just hate the movie. I still think it does nothing, because the people who are Mario fans are like, well, yeah, it's a Mario movie. That wasn't going to work anyway, so whatever. I'll just go ahead and play the sequel to Super Mario Odyssey. I don't care. I really do not see in any circumstance that this movie, if it's terrible, they will do the brand of Mario any damage whatsoever. It will just be that Illumination tried it, didn't work. Nintendo tried it, didn't work. They go back to doing games. You'll probably never see a Legend of Zelda movie. You'll never see a Metroid movie. You'll never see a Splatoon movie. You will not see any Nintendo properties made into movies after this, if this fails. So you'll have all will happen, but it will do minimal damage when it comes to the brand of Mario. Hell, I'll even say this. If it tanks in the box office as well, because let's face it, guys, just because a movie is bad doesn't mean it doesn't sell well. It happens more nowadays, but especially with kids' movies, even if like the quality of the movie is subpar, kids' movies and family movies tend to have much more lasting power in the box office, which means they tend to make more money irregardless of the type of quality of film it is. But if it is a quality film and even adults like it, oh yeah, the sales would go up, most likely. But if it's like a bad movie, parents will hold their noses and take their kids to see it, and that's it. That's just been the way it's been for a long time now, and it kind of still goes that way. Because let's be honest here, kids, do they really know what's good? Nah, not really. No. They just want to see Mario jump up and down, stomp on a Goomba, and that's it. And they're happy for that 90 minutes. Eat some popcorn, drink some pop, and then that's it. They're done. And that's it. We're good. Oh, yeah, little Timmy watched the Super Mario movie. Oh, how was it? It sucked. But he liked it. He got to see Mario when he chomped on some popcorn. He was good. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's look at the budget right now. The budget, there isn't hard numbers when it comes to the budget of the movie, but I'm looking at Screen Rant right now, and they're saying the budget is likely over $100 million. And I agree with this for certain, for some reasons. First off, like the last Minions movie, The Rise of Gru, cost $80 million to produce. Sing 2 cost $85 million. And those have some notable stars. Rise of Gru has Steve Carell. I think he gets a salary of about $6 million in order to actually do this movie, I think. But look at the Mario movie. Actually, Steve Carell did $12 million. Okay, interesting. But look at the Mario movie. We have Chris Pratt. Love him or hate him, he makes bank, and he asks for a big check. So that right there is probably $15 million. You have Anya Taylor-Joy. I think that's probably $5 million. Charlie Day's probably $1 or $2 million. You have Jack Black, who's probably up $10 million, I would say. You have a lot of stars in this movie. In all reasonability, would ask for a decent paycheck, and that right there, I would say, would take up about $40 million, and then take into consideration the technology that is used to make the game, to make the movie, and to get it running into it efficiently, and the staff that you need to get it to actually run that way. You're looking at a little over $100 million on this. This makes sense to me. It to be 100. Let's say it's 115 million. So let's say the budget's 115. The rule of thumb when it comes to movies is that when it comes to how much money you need to make in order to not only break even but to get a profit, take the budget of the movie and then double it when it comes to marketing. Hell, I would even go more than that with marketing when it comes to Mario, because this is going to be a worldwide release, and they're going to hit Japan, they're going to hit China, they're going to hit US, they're going to hit Britain. They're going to hit all territories with a large marketing budget in this. So I would say at this point, 110 million, let's say the budget is 230 million total when it comes to marketing as well. 230. It also makes sense because Screen Rant also says the movie needs to be at least 250 million at the box office to be a success. And I agree with this. I would actually go a little more. I think it would be 260, 270 probably, for it to be a success and for the people who made the movie to be happy with the amount of money they've got in this. Do I think it will make 250, 260, 270? Yes, easily. It is being forecasted by Variety that the studio aims for 125 million as its debut for the weekend. And there's really no competition for the Super Mario movie either. It's going up against Air, which is the movie about Nike trying to court Michael Jordan, and then it's going up against the champ from last week, which is Dungeons and Dragons, which is going to have a precipitous fall because not a lot of people were looking forward to this movie either. Even though I've heard good things about it, not a lot of people were looking forward to watch that movie. So there is that as well. So this is a clear landing for the Super Mario movie, that even if it's not great, to rake in a lot of cash, because the brand of Mario is still huge, even though it is mainly a video game brand, which is a great thing, I think, for games as well as a brand when it comes to it. So I'll put it this way. I think it'll make... They're projecting 125. I wouldn't be surprised if they get the returns and it's 160, 170. I think this is going to do really well. I think this is going to do a lot of money. And I think it will reach the 260, 270 by the end of this month. I think it will take 3 weeks. I think they will easily make that money back. Unless the whole talk on Twitter is how awful this movie is. I do not see a issue with this at all with this movie. I think it's going to sell really well. And I think what this will do moving forward is when it becomes successful, and it will, I think it really will, You're going to see Nintendo take their brands and put it into other properties as well. I would not be surprised if the next thing we hear is a Legend of Zelda movie. Not a live-action movie. I doubt that will ever happen. But an animated movie? Absolutely. I think that's possible. I would also not be surprised if they decide to do a Metroid movie. Well, you know what? Maybe a Metroid series. Metroid, to me, would be the one game of Nintendo's properties that I think would actually make a really good movie or a really good TV series. So I think the three that we're going to see, if the Mario movie does really well, and I think it will, is that you're going to see more Mario movies. You're definitely going to see a Zelda movie, and I think you're going to see something from Metroid. I don't think Pikmin will. I don't think Splatoon will. I don't think F-Zero will. I don't think Kirby will. Maybe Kirby, because Kirby had a cartoon as well called Come Back At Ya. That's possible, I think. Kirby might do it, but I think it's more likely that Metroid actually gets a movie or gets a TV series. That's just my thought on it. But yeah, I suspect that the Super Mario Brothers movie is going to do really well in the box office and will move forward to get more gaming brands to not only do movies, but to go for quality movies. Let's be honest here. We all know that video games have been trying to get into the movie space for God knows how long. And it's been generously with mixed results. I saw the Street Fighter movie in theaters. I saw it in theaters, and it was not a good time. It was a pretty bad time. I thought like Mortal Kombat was a little better, but not by much. But even back then, what are the other games that got into movies? Well, let's look at Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia, Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I do not like the Sonic the Hedgehog games, but the movie wasn't bad. It really wasn't. But yeah, they've had a bunch of properties turn into properties of games turn into movies, like Detective Pikachu. I'm surprised they did Detective Pikachu. I thought they would have definitely done a straight Pokemon. And the animated movies have been in theaters as well, and they did well for the first couple, but then as time went on, then the Pokemon company realized, we can't push our luck, so let's just put them out on DVD, and that's what they did. Which, fine, that's a possibility too in this one. I think the Super Mario Brothers movie is going to do really well in the box office, despite the reviews being It'll be interesting to see what happens. What do you think? Do you think the Super Mario Brothers movie will actually do well in the box office? Other Nintendo properties, or even game properties, would you like to see turn into films or in TV series? Sound off in the comments. Let me know on social media what you think. And if you like this and you're on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think of the video. Tune in Friday for the weekly dividend, unless a big news story comes out. And until then, I am The Wiz. This is Capital Games. Talk to you next time. Bye. Thank you for checking out Capital Games, where we cover the business side of the video game industry. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed the video. You can also subscribe to the podcast if you prefer to have it on your podcast feed. And check us out on our socials and email us if you have a question, comment, or suggestion. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll hear from you next time.